You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly. Let's go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray. Jackie Ray, good evening. Let's jump right into this. I reached out to you over the weekend because I saw a rumor which popped up on social media, and it was that Dawn Staley, who is presently the coach of the three-time NCAA champion South Carolina Gamecocks women, and also a member of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, also a member of the FIBA Basketball Hall of Fame, three-time Olympic gold medalist player, also Olympic gold medalist coach of the 2020 Olympics, Dawn Staley. Just for context.
Come on now.
She has been contacted by the New York Knicks. I can't say whether she's the front runner, but it has been confirmed that there is an actual conversation, and if it were to proceed, she could be and would be the first female head coach of an NBA team. What did you think about it when we first started seeing this information?
When I first started seeing it, I definitely believed it was true, just because of her caliber, who she is, the way that she can motivate both men and women. We've seen that. Her resume in that area is flawless, but I automatically said it's a no-go for her. And the reason why I said that is because she really has a passion for shaping young women for the next level of their career and life. So it's not just shaping them for the WNBA. That's great. Obviously, she's shaping champions. I mean, every time somebody wins a champion in the WNBA, Dawn Staley's right there. You know, look at my protege. So I think, but it's more than that for her. For her, it really is preparing young women for the next level, even if that doesn't mean basketball. And that's a true passion for her. It warms her heart. You can see it on her face every time she talks about one of the students that came through her program. So I just don't know. Now, look, money talks, baloney walks, though, right? So I don't know what we're talking about financially.
Let me give you some context. Given her resume, which I read off intentionally, JJ Redick, who is in the number 2 market, rookie coach, no experience, Lakers, gets $8 million a year. Presently, Dawn Staley gets $4 million a year as coach of the Gamecocks. So I don't know if
she should make more than JJ.
She should, but you know, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But she would stand to make at least probably double what she's making right now. And maybe after a certain point, could she conceivably have a conversation with herself and say, you know what, I've done all I can do on this level. We talk about it with men all the time, who like a coach Krzyzewski or someone who's done so much in college ball. There may be that pull to go to the next level.
That's a little different, though, because when you're talking about NCAA men's sports, whether it's basketball or football, NCAA men's sports have long-standing alumni fan base. So that is solidified. So if you succeed there, you definitely should be able to succeed at the next level. Right now, NCAA women's game is feeding the WNBA. So she still has work to do to help build the WNBA if she wants to look at it. Now, look at it like that. But on the flip side, she might say, you know, there has to be a first. At some point, it is not unusual for men to coach in the WNBA, which is very, very odd to me that we have more men than women right now, but it's fine. But at some point, somebody has to be the one that cracks that glass ceiling. So why not be the best to ever do it?
And we know that there have been female coaches in the NBA like Becky Hammon, but never a head coach. I thought it was going to be Becky Hammon, but she decided to go to the WNBA after coaching as an assistant under Greg Popovich.
Right. But respectfully, and I love Becky, her contract is a problem because for her to make exponentially more than every single player, you know, the highest salary for a player is what, $250,000 if you're lucky. If you're lucky. And, you know, for her to be making millions and the players in the W still don't have revenue sharing and things of that nature. There's not extra roster spots, so they're not having to kill themselves playing this game. So while I appreciated Becky saying, no, I want to coach in the W, like, don't play us. You know what I mean? Like, you're still getting, if you really wanted to impact the league in that way, it would have been a more, yes, I'm going to do this, but, you know, you would have to address that elephant in the room. So for Dawn Staley, if she is going to go somewhere, I do think she'll go to the NBA because I think with her understanding and her players talk to her, they confide in her. She's like a godmom to a lot of them. I don't think she would take $1 million, whatever salary, even if it was, she makes $4 million right now.
Correct.
So if she made $5 or $6 million in the W, I don't think she would take it because I think it would be a conviction for her. So if she is going to leave, it would be to the NBA.
And I'm also hearing that the Knicks are they've had 2 interviews from what I understand and read with former Lakers coach Mike Brown, former Cavaliers coach Mike Brown. I would not, if I'm the Knicks, that? I don't, because I don't think talking about Don Staley, I don't think he's a leader of men. I don't know if people
I agree with that.
Play for him. I think they would play for Don Staley.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I agree with that, because the way that she's able to speak, she has this uncanny ability. Like, I've seen her talk to a multitude of different players. She has an uncanny ability to just meet you where you are. Whatever that might be. Where you are is going to be different than where I am. And she's really good at that. And I think that the question that's always going to come up when you're talking about a woman coaching the men's game is, can they respect her?
That's why I read off that resume.
Exactly. If you don't respect her, then you don't respect the game, because she has set her name in stone in this game.
I don't know if there's anybody, I'm being serious, who has that resume.
Right.
FIBA Hall of Fame, Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, 3 gold medals as a player, gold medal as a coach. I don't know. Right.
And then you have to talk about the intangibles. One of the things that comes in women's sports a lot more often than comes in men's sports is we have the social challenges, what's said in social media. We battle the transgender conversation, and she has handled all of those with grace and style. So if they come up in the NBA, she can definitely lead them in a way that they wouldn't be led by anyone else.
And she fits in New York specifically.
Man, listen, New York she wouldn't pay nary a bill ever. She would be walking down the street. Can you get in my car? Look, get on my bike.
Let me put it another way. For those who don't know Dawn Staley, she's already a living legend.
She is.
And have a living legend in the #1 media market in a legendary city with a legendary franchise, it fits in so many ways. But to your point, I don't know if she wants that.
Yeah, I don't know if she wants. And when you talk about the Knicks specifically, because this is supposed to be the Knicks' year,
supposed to be,
and it wasn't. And then if she comes in, do they blame her?
Well, the bar is going to be set high regardless.
Right. Right. I mean, if she makes the move, I don't think she'll make it. But if she makes the move, listen, I'm going to New York for the first game.
It would be one of the biggest things in the history of sports.
I would be there, front row.
When we come back, we have to talk about something which should surprise nobody. There's another NBA player, or let me just say a professional sports figure, who might be in trouble for gambling.
Oh, shocker.
Who could have seen that? Who could have predicted that, Jackie Ray, other than us? I know. That's coming up next. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly as we continue to go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray. And Jackie Ray, I can't speak for other talk shows, but I know that this particular talk show was on the story of sports and gambling and the inevitability of it long before probably anybody in the country.
Yep.
And we said that we started obviously with the Ohtani controversy and his interpreter. I'm not trying to impugn anyone's integrity. Wink, wink. But we said that this is one of many across sports because it's everywhere now. And we've been proven right along the way. Now we have the Detroit Pistons' Malik Beasley reportedly being investigated by the feds. Allegations of gambling. A prominent U.S. sportsbook noticed unusual betting activity on prop bets for Beasley. If you don't know, prop bet is like those weird promotional bets. Like, we bet that Malik Beasley will get 6 rebounds this game, or he'll play 25 minutes, or you get 3 points.
That's a Super Bowl. It's like, we'll have a streaker at halftime or something.
That's a prop bet. And they noticed unusual betting on prop bets beginning in January of last year, 2024. And this is according to ESPN gambling reporter David Perdue. Beasley was playing his lone season with the Bucks at that point. He started 77 games, scoring 11.3 points and shooting 41% on threes. Here's the thing. If they noticed it back in January of 2024, it is likely to me that there was a pattern that they noticed beyond January 2024 in building this case. Now, he hasn't been charged with anything, but he is known to be under investigation. And I think this is what his lawyer said. Quote, an investigation is not a charge. Malik is afforded the same right of the presumption of innocence as anyone else under the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
As of now, he has not been charged with anything, close quote. Yeah, but for him to know that he is under investigation, usually, and I just say this as someone who sat on a federal grand jury, so I know how the investigations go as far as there's investigative and there's accusatory. The investigative ones go over the portion of weeks or months. Accusatory is just a one-day thing. When you have these investigative grand juries, and I have to believe it's at a grand jury point at this point, they're presenting evidence to the grand jury of what they know. That says to me,
they got something.
They already have him, and they just haven't actually gone for the true bill, the indictment. What would you ascertain from this investigation so far?
So I'm right there with you. You don't even mention this. This isn't even a talking point if you haven't dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. They have what they need to have. If they wanted to drop an indictment today, they could.
Could be other people involved.
It could be other people involved. But in my heart of hearts, and I've said this about this topic from day one, the relationship between professional sports and gambling is way too tight. It just, you mean
like DraftKings and Prize Picks and.
Yeah, like I'll go to, what's the last game I went to? Yeah, I've been to, I want to say an NBA game and seen FanDuel on the court, or DraftKings, or, you know what I mean? And so there's a relationship there. So much so that I really just don't care, because I think it's so hypocritical for you to say, we're going to partner with, you can't, player, but us, big establishment, we're going to partner with this gambling thing over here. Not so much so that we're going to put their paraphernalia on our floor and we're going to tell our fans, you should gamble, but not you, player.
Well, one step further, it also be able to use the names and likenesses of the players.
Yes, and I've seen that in the commercials. So for me, it's very, very hypocritical. Because you can't, how do you draw that line? You're drawing a line in quicksand at this point, because you're saying, do as I say, not do as I do. That doesn't work on kids. It's definitely not going to work on grown men.
And I understand the distinction being made where it's like the league making money is one thing, the players making money and then impugning the integrity of the game is something else. I get it. And the argument is, well, you really can't have it both ways. If you don't want gambling in your sport, then you have to make sure it's not in your sport.
100%, which means you sever this relationship, because the only way that you can really come down on a player for gambling is if you don't take part in it. You can't say, do as I say again, because it's very hypocritical. So now when you're telling, and now there's endorsement deals, with certain people. So you're literally telling the players, hey, we're bringing this entity in so we can make money. You can make money. Let's build a partnership. I've been in partnerships that I've also supported that other partner. And that might mean purchasing something that they have distributed. That's just how it goes.
It might be, I don't know how the collective bargaining agreement reads. It may be something where you have a set aside or a carve out for merchandise or apparel, which is sold. They get a piece of that.
Right.
Maybe they get a piece of the gambling as well. But it's too easy for a middle tier player to make money off these prop bets, because we've heard about this before, where they don't have to throw a game or do something which is above the radar, but they can do something where, okay, the over under is 3 points for me tonight. So let me just make sure I get hurt, or I have to sit out the second half. Right.
They could do something like that, or they could just make it, if this is a person who doesn't typically shoot threes, let me just shoot, the percentage is so-and-so will shoot and make blah, blah, blah threes. Whether I make it or not, nobody really expects me to shoot threes if I'm not a good 3-point shooter. So if I suddenly start shooting threes and I catch on fire when I've made this bet, that's a win-win. That's one of those things where you can kind of get away with, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, he had such an amazing night. No, they were gambling. But it's just too thin of a line.
JB Martinez in the chat says the players already make millions, way more than the average fan will ever make. Might as well let the fans have some fun gambling. How would you respond?
I think money corrupts, absolutely. And I think once you get a taste of money and you can figure out a way to get money easily, to say that, oh, they shouldn't do that because they make so much money. I have never met a person who makes so much money and didn't want more.
Well, there are two things. I think there are two parts to this. He's saying that the average fan won't make the type of NBA money that the players make. So let the fans have some fun. I say when you introduce gambling into the sport, and there are too many ways that fans can reach players, can reach.
We talked about that.
Yeah, who can reach members of the organization and get inside information or somehow create a cooperative agreement. All I'm saying is this is another example of the story can only end one way.
Yeah.
With the scandal, which is going to impact the integrity or the perception of the sport forever.
Yeah. And to your point, never think that a player is untouchable. I cover the WNBA. Next season, I'm going to cover the Clippers as well. If I have rapport with a player and you say, hey, Jackie, do you think you can, nudge, nudge, hint, hint, winky, winky? Everyone's accessible. This is, this is just a thing.
And I was a beat writer for the Clippers. You may just being in the locker room know some insider information. It's like, oh, by the way, he's not playing tonight.
Or they might sometimes they don't tell you, they might limit a player's minutes, and they don't tell you that because they don't want they're like, this is an injury that we don't really know what it is.
Right.
We might have to limit their minutes.
But I've learned some things just by being in the locker room before and after a game. Now,
they don't let us in the locker room anymore.
Oh, they don't?
No, at least not in the W. We used to go in the locker room in the W, but they don't. Ever since COVID, they don't let us in the locker room anymore.
That makes sense.
So I don't know if it's like that in the NBA, but they don't.
It probably is because they don't want to be responsible for you getting somebody sick.
Right. So, because that was the best ear hustling place on the planet.
Yes,
the locker
room. You hear some stuff and you see some stuff, which is very valuable in this day and age.
Yep.
But I think it's just a matter of time until we have another major gambling controversy in a major sport.
But I think to save face, the best way to really be able to bring the hammer down morally on a player, you have to sever these ties with the gambling institutions. Well, won't happen.
I was going to say that's not going to happen. There's too much money involved now.
But it should.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. Always great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Well, I'll see you Friday at Chateau Le Mo.
I shall be there. I will not be making any dishes though.
Okay. Well, you'll be making an appearance.
I will bring libations.
Okay. Sounds good. We're live everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Well, it's Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And before Jackie Ray could run out the studio, I said, Jackie, do not leave. Do not leave. Because we need your expertise on this. Tinder, dating app, very popular dating app. I don't know personally. I've never been on Tinder. And that's also something I need Jackie Ray to help me with. Tinder is testing a height filter. It's a new feature that allows people who pay for the app to filter potential matches based on height. And short men around the world are up in arms about this controversial new feature.
Literally going up.
Okay.
Up.
Jackie Ray, how tall are you?
5'11". I would pay the money for this. I would pay.
Oh, God. I'm not 5'11". Mark, are you 5'11"?
I'm 6 even.
Yep. Yep. He is.
Stephen, are you 5'11"?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Good answer. Y'all are lying through your teeth.
Stephen, I don't know. Are you really?
You seem taller than 5'11", honestly.
No, I think you are just not 5'11".
Okay, here we go.
See, already a problem.
We're going to take this to the hallway. We're going to tell you the best. We're taking this to the hallway, and then we can all line each other up.
Okay.
Look, I'm not 5'11". Let me just say that. And I'm getting shorter by the day because you get older, your spine gets compacted. Right. You get older. You ever see like your grandparent and they're like 3'2"? I'm on my way down.
I think you're supposed to be taller in the morning, so measure your height in the morning.
They do say that.
A lot of things supposed to happen in the morning.
If you're just trying to squeeze out an extra half an inch or so, go for the morning.
There's a lot you could do with that one.
There's a lot in there. We're just going to keep on moving forward. But Jackie Ray, speaking of Tinder, you've used Tinder before, right?
Yes, I have. One time.
How do you go about matching with someone? What is something that you're looking for?
So specifically on Tinder or just dating apps in general? Because I've only used Tinder like once.
Okay, but dating apps in general.
Specifically in general, I'm looking for somebody who's checked off relationship. I am looking for so I typically do skip over men who don't list their height. But I am looking for somebody at least 5'10". You don't have to be taller than me, but you have to be at least 5'10". 5'9" is probably the shortest I would go.
Would you say that that's a general rule for women in your height range?
I think it is. Well, let me say this. Okay, now we're getting in the weeds of it. I think it's a typical thing for women in my height range and who have the professional drive that I have, because when you're constantly in a world where you're dominating, sometimes it's hard to turn that off, and visuals help you turn that off. If I walk in and I have to lean down and be like, "Hey, honey," I'm not turning it off.
Why do you have to do it like that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
You should have seen that on YouTube. Like, little child hug.
Like, how you doing, buddy?
Okay, so you're 6'1", 6'2" in heels.
Yes.
What's the tallest you've dated?
6'8". That was fantastic.
Evidently not. You didn't end up with him.
Facts. No, but like the pictures and what I saw in my head happening were good. And I probably stayed in that situation a little longer than I should have, just because of how good we looked together.
All right, let me get a little bit deeper in this. We're talking about Tinder, and I think people are honest in what they want.
Right.
Lie about who they are.
Exactly.
So when you're honest in what you want, if we were to generalize for women, what is it about height? Is it about the visual aesthetic, or is it about the feeling of protection? What is it?
It's both. It's the visual aesthetic. You know, when you're thinking about future pictures, you just want to be that statuesque couple. I dated a guy one time that was 5'7", and I couldn't do it because I felt like I was holding the hand of a child the whole time. So just mentally, I know I'm just being real. Y'all asked me to stay to be real. That's why I'm here. And so I just couldn't mentally do it because
the slander.
I mean, and then there were times when he'd be like, "I think you should," and I'd be like, "Okay, but I'm not." And like there was just a level in me, and that could be a me thing. And again, I think some of that was because I'm so used to like being in a space where I have to dominate. And the only time I'm able to turn that off is when I do feel safe with somebody. And part of me feeling safe with you as a man is feeling that you can protect me. If I feel like I got to scoop you up and run out the door, I don't think you can protect me.
Lord.
Carnisha, I got to ask you, as the other woman in this conversation, have you ever used Tinder?
I have in college.
Okay. You're honest in what you're looking for. What were you looking for?
Well, at that time, I was just looking for casual relationships. I didn't really too much pay attention with height, but I did have a moment where I don't want to say obsessed with short dudes, but I had a little thing for short dudes.
Oh, you got a short dude thing.
Okay.
All right, short fetish. Hey.
It does broaden your horizons.
All right. Let me just ask you this. No specifics. The tallest man that you've dated.
Maybe like 6'2".
How tall are you?
I'm only 5'4".
Oh, girl.
So I'm
How
average
short
height.
is short to you then?
I mean, I would say probably like, I don't even know, because I'm 5'2", so you can't be too short. Like, you could come up to my chin, but that's about it.
Yeah, because if you're below 5'2", then you're representing the lollipop guild.
Jesus.
But yeah, there was
I
a
wish
time
you could
where,
read the chat, because the chat
like,
is
short
like,
dudes were very attractive.
chat is like all depressed.
I'm so sorry.
They're all like telling on themselves.
Are we still going with Short King? Is that?
Yes.
I'm crying.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mark Island Music, Randy Newman, Short People. That's a great song. That's a great song. It's in fact,
Short people got that
yes,
one.
yes.
No
Pull that up if you can, Stefan. Yeah, Randy Newman. It's actually the first Randy Newman song I ever learned or even knew about. It was earlier on in his career.
Yeah. But love should transcend all.
Tyler Triplett says in the chat, "I'm 6'5", never had to worry."
See, boom. He's like, "What? I don't even know what y'all talking about this for. I'm good." Let's ask Tyler though. If you met a WNBA woman who was 6'8", would you date her, Tyler?
Brittany Griner, 6'8".
She's 6'9".
6'9". Who is 6'8"? Who's closest?
Isn't Brittany 6'9" or is she 6'8"?
Yeah, but she's not.
I think
looking,
Asia's 6'7".
6'7". But Brittany's not looking for a dude.
She's definitely not.
No.
Short people got no reason to live. They got little hands, little eyes. They walk around
Telling big lies.
They got
Especially on apps.
Telling little feet.
They wear platform shoes on
The nasty little feet.
Well, I don't want no short people. Don't want no short people. Don't want no short people around here.
KFI AM 640. We're getting ready to take it to the hallway and continue this discussion with a lot of people who are under 6 feet. A lot.
And one that claims to be 5'11". We about to find out.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We see that you really appreciated that hallway moment. So if you ever are going to check out the show on YouTube, we have these moments where we take it to the hallway. We have a video aspect to something that we've just been discussing. We hope to do more and more of that. It was a very good response from that. Very good response. So you know that Jackie Ray's like 5'11", just about 6'4". She puts on heels.
Pretty much.
And the rest of us are not. Just leave it at that. We have a quick moment to go over your... Yeah, why did you not come out of the room?
I had work to do, but why would I lie about my height? It's easily enough proved.
Okay.
Go. Please proceed.
We have a quick moment to do your horoscope for this week. I'm going to talk about your soul. Your soul has a zodiac signature. And to find the house in your chart where Pluto resides, use a birth chart calculator, like the one I'm getting ready to show you. Look for the Pluto symbol, a circle over a crescent and a cross, and then find the pie slice and number in the innermost ring of your chart that corresponds to it. I do not know what any of that means, but you have that information.
Pie slice. I was focused on pie slice.
Aries, a first house Pluto placement would be a warrior, forged in the fires of adversity, a type Aries soul. Taurus, while a second house Pluto is an embodied transformation through the tactile Taurus soul. Does any of this make sense? I don't know what this is. Gemini, Mark Ronner.
Listening.
If you have a third house Pluto, you're going to have a Gemini soul. A Gemini soul is somebody who tends to be very mentally active, who tends to be kind of always on the lookout for new ideas, always thinking, always processing, and taking in new information.
Third house Pluto. I can't even afford a first house in L.A.
Go ahead, Stefan. Wait.
I don't need your charity.
Cancer, a fourth house Pluto is a karmic family ties and care as control Cancer soul. Leo, Carnisha, fifth house Pluto is a shine on you crazy diamond, devoted to expression, inner child on outer display, here to be seen, Leo soul. Virgo, a sixth house Pluto is a Virgo soul. If you have a sixth house Pluto, you might be a person who is always in service, or someone who's just really busy or really trying to like finesse and perfect your life. And this can literally drive you crazy. This can make you a bit of a worrywart. Libra, a seventh house Pluto is a Libra soul, concerned with learning how to balance autonomy and interdependence. Tuala?
Yep.
You're an eighth house Pluto, Scorpio soul, interested in depths and shadows, intimacy and threshold experiences.
Yes.
Me as a Sagittarius, a ninth house Pluto is a thrill-chasing, flower-sniffing Sagittarius soul. If you have a ninth house Pluto, then you might be the kind of soul who's a wanderer, a searcher, somebody constantly on the lookout for wisdom and for once-in-a-lifetime experiences that can awaken them. That's not wrong. That's not wrong.
See? Now your stuff is coming out.
So to speak. Capricorn, a 10th house Pluto is a Capricorn soul, focused on building an empire, learning from elders, mastering a craft, and leaving a living legacy. Aquarius, an 11th house Pluto is an Aquarius soul, here to be shaped through the experience of being both a leader and an outsider, a rebel with a cause, and a heart without a home. And rounding it all out, Pluto, a 12th house Pluto is a Pisces soul. If you have a 12th house Pluto, you're coming in with a lot of sensitivity to everything and a feeling of scatteredness or lostness, or not having a set reality. You read a lot into things and take things personally. But there's also an intuition here that says, I know that we're more than this. I know that the world is temporary, an illusion, and like, why am I even here? And that is your immortal soul astrological sign. And I have no freaking idea what any of that means.
You wanderer, you searcher, you seeker of wisdom.
Wisdom? Yes.
Yes. Wisdom and knowledge.
Okay. If you say so.
That is you.
That was
With
kind of
your-
a weird
with
one
your
because it's like we
Sagittarian
interchanged souls between the other signs.
Yeah.
See?
I've learned much more about myself since I've been doing this show,
I love it.
or something like that.
I love it.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're going to tell you about the box office returns for this week and why Mark Ronner was wrong.
Oh boy, here we go.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.